Hi everybody, this is Valentina from the Real Italian Kitchen, and today we're going to make a dessert. And because a few of my followers requested a dessert that could have both fruit and chocolate in it, I'm going to make a pear and chocolate chip cake. You can find a full list of the ingredients in the more info area below the video, and they're going to be both in grams and in measuring cups. The first thing that I did for my chocolate and pear cake was pull the butter out of the fridge so that by the time I'm gonna go ahead and use it, it's gonna be at room temperature. Then I separated the egg yolks from the egg whites. So mix the yolks with the room temperature butter and the cup of sugar, or if you're using grams, it's 200 grams of sugar and 125 grams of room temperature butter. And I'm working it with the spoon first because I don't want it to splash it all over the kitchen. With the yolks, with the sugar and the butter, until the sugar is completely dissolved, and under your fingers, you can't feel the grains of the sugar anymore. I'm peeling the skin, and I'm trying to be as close to the skin as possible, and I'm still trying to, remove most of it or all of it. And the pears that I chose are mid-size. You can see it's like I have small hands, so it's a little smaller, half a hand. And I chose the brown pears because they're juicier, and we want a little bit of moisture in the cake. There we go. So now I'm gonna cut it in half, and then I'm gonna cut it in half again, and I'm gonna stay away from the center because it's usually a little bit tough. So I'm gonna cut the center out, and then I'm gonna cut what's left in little strips. I don't want it too big and I don't want it too small. Next up, I'm gonna add the 100 grams of flour with the half confection of baking powder. At this point, if it seems a little dry, feel free to add a little bit of milk. Add it little by little, because if you add too much, the yeast won't work. So the next thing I'm going to do is clean my whip and go whip the whites that I had separated earlier. There we go, I think now it's done. Let's add that to our yellow mix. And the way you add the white to the yellow part is by folding it in like this, so that the white will stay fluffy. The more you work it, the more air you lose in the egg white. See, and this gives moisture to the mix too, so careful when you're adding the milk. Next up, we're gonna add the pears. Nice and juicy. And then we're gonna add the chocolate chips. And see, I'm not adding a lot of them. Now, before adding the mix into the pan, I'm gonna butter it, and you see it in my recipes. I use my hands a lot. I must wash my hands probably 1,000 times when I'm cooking, because it's just faster, see? So butter the pan, and then we're gonna add a little bit of flour. We're gonna flour it like this by letting the flour drop on the pan, and then get rid of the excess flour. Add the mix in. The oven is warming up at 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. But again, you can find all these informations in the more info area below the video. And it's gonna have to cook for 40 to 45 minutes, depending on the kind of oven that you have. So my cake is finally ready. It cooked for about 45 minutes until the edges started looking more or less like this. I took pictures of it so you guys can see it better. And now, very carefully with a knife, I'm gonna make sure that the edges don't, you know, they didn't stick to the baking pan, so that I can put my cake on a serving dish. Yeah. And then you put another plate and you flip it right side up. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna cut a slice so we can look at the inside of it. And you see how the chocolate chips and the pears fell at the bottom of the cake because they're heavy. So it turns into a very interesting white cake on the top with this sort of caramelized fruit and chocolate at the bottom. And let's try it. It's delicious. There's nothing better than come home after a long day of work and having a great piece of cake to eat. So I hope you'll try it. I hope you enjoyed the video recipe. Please subscribe to my channel. Ciao, ciao.